You're going to the bathroom way too often, and it's not just annoying. It might be a sign your body is struggling with something deeper. In this video, you'll learn what frequent urination really means and how to naturally bring your body back into balance. Have you ever stopped to wonder why you're running to the bathroom more often than usual? You might think it's just something you ate, drank, or a minor inconvenience tied to stress or age. But what if your body is trying to send a deeper message, one you absolutely shouldn't ignore? Frequent urination might seem harmless at first. It might feel like a normal part of getting older or drinking too much coffee. But what if I told you it could be a silent sign that your body is out of balance in ways you've never considered? I'm not here to scare you, but to awaken your attention. Because this, right here, could be your body's way of waving a red flag before things get worse. Now, before we dive into the why, here's something to keep in mind. At the end of this content, I'm going to share a bonus tip that almost no one talks about. It's a natural, simple step that can supercharge your results, if and only if you watch through carefully and understand how all the pieces fit together. When it comes to your health, missing just one small detail could make all the difference. Back to the issue at hand. Frequent urination isn't just about how many times you visit the bathroom. It's about what's happening internally, what your kidneys, bladder, hormones, and nervous system are trying to manage. Waking up multiple times at night to urinate can interrupt your sleep cycle, leading to fatigue, brain fog, and a weakened immune system. And yet, most people think, it's just how my body works. But let's pause. Did you know that excessive urination can contribute to mineral imbalances, especially the loss of magnesium and potassium? These are two critical electrolytes that regulate everything from heart rhythm to muscle function. And when they're depleted, your body compensates in ways that might make the problem even worse, like increased cravings, anxiety, and even more trips to the bathroom. Now here's where it gets more interesting. In our daily lives, especially in North America, we consume a lot of substances that seem harmless but quietly overstimulate the bladder. Think about it. The morning coffee, the energy drink at work, the diet soda with lunch, and the tea after dinner. All these, on top of processed foods and environmental stress, create a storm your body struggles to calm. And yet, despite all of this, most people never stop to ask why their body is reacting this way. They adapt. They keep going. They accept it. But the truth is, ignoring these symptoms doesn't make them go away. It simply delays the moment you'll have to face them head on, and by then, the solution might be more complex. Now let me be clear. This isn't about fear. It's about empowerment. Because the good news is that your body wants to heal. It wants to return to balance. All it needs is your attention and your action. That's why it's crucial to understand the signals early and take the right steps with clarity and purpose. And one more thing, it's not just your bladder that's affected. When urination becomes too frequent, your quality of life shifts. Your sleep suffers, your energy dips, your focus wavers. Relationships may strain when exhaustion takes hold. These are the ripple effects that often go unnoticed. So here's your first step, awareness. Pay attention to how often you urinate. Track what you drink and when. Begin to ask yourself, what changed? What habits have become so normal that you stopped questioning them? This isn't about making you worried. It's about making you informed. Because when you understand the root causes, the path to healing becomes not only clearer, but simpler. And remember, we're just getting started. The next insight may be one of the most critical, and skipping it could not only limit your progress, it might lead to unintended consequences that many only realize when it's too late. So now that we've taken the first and most important step, awareness, it's time to go deeper. If you've been urinating more frequently and have ruled out obvious reasons like high fluid intake or a temporary infection, it's time to look at the hidden causes. And some of these may surprise you. Most people think of frequent urination as a bladder issue. But what they don't realize is that the bladder often reacts to a deeper imbalance happening somewhere else in the body. One of the biggest culprits? Your hormones. Let's talk insulin. Yes, the hormone most commonly associated with blood sugar. When your body becomes resistant to insulin, a condition that affects a shocking number of adults in North America, it starts pulling more water into the kidneys to flush out excess glucose. The result? You guessed it, more urination. And here's the kicker. This process often begins silently, without any major symptoms at first. You might not feel sick. You might not even realize anything is wrong. But your body is already working overtime to compensate, and it doesn't stop there. Cortisol, your stress hormone, also plays a major role. Chronic stress, whether from work, poor sleep, financial pressure, or emotional overload, triggers cortisol release. That cortisol doesn't just affect your mood, it impacts your kidneys and bladder too. Stress can change the way your body retains or expels fluid, creating an unpredictable pattern of urination that feels frustrating, exhausting, and unexplained. But what about your nervous system? Specifically, the autonomic nervous system, which controls all the things you don't consciously think about, like heartbeat, digestion, and yes, urination. When this system is under constant pressure, it can misfire. This is why some people feel an urgent need to urinate even when their bladder isn't full. Their nerves are overstimulated. Now, here's something few people know. Artificial sweeteners. Yes, the ones found in diet sodas, protein bars, sugar-free gums, and flavored waters, can irritate the bladder lining. Ingredients like aspartame and sucralose may seem like smart substitutes for sugar, but they can create low-grade inflammation that leads to increased urinary frequency. It's a hidden trap. You switch to healthier options, thinking you're doing the right thing, but your body disagrees. That's why some people who drink zero-calorie beverages actually experience more symptoms than before. Let's add one more piece to the puzzle: mineral depletion. Frequent urination itself flushes out vital minerals, especially magnesium, sodium, and potassium. These minerals are key to muscle function, nerve signaling, and fluid balance. When your body loses them too quickly and they aren't replenished through food or supplements, the bladder and kidneys suffer. This creates a vicious cycle. More urination leads to more mineral loss, which causes more dysfunction, and so on. But here's the empowering truth. These triggers are modifiable. You can change your habits, you can reduce your exposure, you can support your body, and it all starts with understanding where these silent triggers are hiding in your routine. Take a look at your daily habits. Are you consuming multiple cups of coffee? Do you rely on energy drinks or diet soda to get through the day? Do you snack on processed foods with hidden sugars and preservatives? All of these could be contributing to a stressed and overactive bladder. And let's be honest, these are common habits in many North American households. We've normalized constant stimulation. Caffeine for energy, screens for distraction, sugar for comfort. But your body never signed up for this non-stop ride. It's doing its best to adapt, but adaptation isn't the same as healing. Healing requires intention. It requires pause. It requires that you tune back in to what your body is telling you. So here's the next step. Reduce or eliminate one irritant from your routine. Just one. Maybe it's switching from diet soda to herbal tea. Maybe it's limiting coffee to 1 cup per day. Small, consistent changes are what create lasting results. And make no mistake, the next insight is one of the most important. Skipping it could not only hold back your progress, it could expose you to unintended side effects that most people never see coming until it's already too late. If you've already started paying closer attention to your habits and cut back on common bladder irritants like caffeine and artificial sweeteners, you're on the right track. But now, it's time to look at something even more surprising. Something hiding right in front of you, often labeled as healthy, but quietly overstimulating your body in ways that few people realize. Let's talk about what's in your cup. From the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed, chances are you're sipping on something. Coffee, flavored water, green tea, sports drinks, juice. Many of these beverages are part of a routine that feels normal. They keep you energized, refreshed, and hydrated, or so it seems. But here's the reality. Not all hydration is created equal, and not every drink supports your bladder the way you think it does. In fact, some of the most common beverages in the average North American diet are doing just the opposite. They're overloading your kidneys, irritating your bladder lining, and causing your body to lose control over how it manages fluid. Let's start with fruit juice. Even when labeled 100% natural, most commercial fruit juices are concentrated sources of fructose. This type of sugar, especially in liquid form, is absorbed quickly and can trigger spikes in blood sugar and insulin. That chain reaction affects your kidneys directly, often increasing the need to urinate and accelerating mineral loss. Then there's carbonated water, especially the kind with natural flavors. While many believe it's a smart alternative to soda, carbonated drinks can actually irritate the bladder in people who are sensitive. The added acidity and bubbles might seem harmless, but they can activate nerve receptors in the bladder wall, making you feel like you need to go, even when the bladder isn't full. And what about so-called health drinks, like pre-made green teas, bottled kombuchas, or electrolyte mixes? Many of them contain added citric acid, preservatives, and flavor enhancers that can overstimulate the bladder's muscle fibers. These additives aren't always listed clearly on the label. That's why some people experience frequent urination after drinking these beverages, even when they seem clean and healthy. Energy drinks are another major culprit. They often combine high doses of caffeine, taurine, B vitamins, and sugars, or sugar substitutes, all of which can push the bladder into overdrive. Caffeine is a well-known diuretic, but the problem isn't just how often you go, it's the imbalance it creates. Caffeine also increases calcium loss in urine, which can lead to irritation and long-term strain on kidney function. Here's something that might surprise you. Even herbal teas can cause problems if consumed excessively or without awareness. Teas like hibiscus, dandelion, or ginger are often praised for their benefits, but they also have natural diuretic properties. In moderation, they can help. But when taken too frequently or at the wrong time of day, they might be contributing to that all-too-familiar urgency and nighttime trips to the bathroom. This isn't about avoiding every drink you enjoy. It's about becoming conscious. Because when you recognize what's stimulating your bladder without adding value to your health, you give yourself the power to choose differently and feel better as a result. So what can you do? Start by identifying the drinks you rely on daily. Keep a simple log for 3 days. What you drink, how much, and when. Then note any patterns. Are you urinating more after certain beverages? Do you wake up more often at night after drinking something specific in the evening? Once you identify a pattern, you can begin making small, meaningful changes. Try replacing one beverage each day with plain filtered water or a soothing bladder-friendly tea, like chamomile or marshmallow root. These options support hydration without overstimulation. And if you crave flavor, try infusing water with cucumber slices or fresh mint, both refreshing and gentle on the urinary system. You don't have to overhaul everything at once. In fact, small adjustments often bring the biggest benefits over time. Listen to your body. Let your symptoms guide your decisions. Because when it comes to frequent urination, the problem might not be how much you drink. It might be what you drink. And as you're about to discover, the next step is even more critical. Ignoring it might not just slow your progress, it could trigger effects that impact a completely different part of your body, leading to discomfort and complications that are often misunderstood or misdiagnosed. So keep going. You're closer than ever to making lasting change. If you've started observing your beverages and making thoughtful changes, you might already feel a difference. Your bladder may be a little calmer and your sleep a bit more stable. But now, we need to focus on something that often goes unnoticed, something that quietly sabotages your progress without making a sound. It's not your kidneys, it's not your bladder, it's your gut. Yes, your digestive system plays a much bigger role in urinary health than most people realize. There's an intricate and powerful connection between your gut and your bladder, and when one is off balance, the other often follows. Think about this. Your intestines and bladder are neighbors. They share the same physical space, the same nerve pathways, and many of the same muscular reflexes. When your gut is inflamed, sluggish, or filled with excess waste, it puts pressure on the bladder, literally. That physical tension can create the sensation of urgency even when your bladder isn't full. But it's more than just physical pressure. An unhealthy gut can lead to systemic inflammation throughout the body. That inflammation doesn't stay isolated. It travels through your bloodstream, reaching your kidneys and bladder, and irritating the delicate tissues that help regulate urination. Inflammatory markers, once elevated, can create hypersensitive responses, making your bladder overreact to even the smallest triggers. Constipation is one of the most underestimated contributors to frequent urination. When the intestines are backed up, they take up more space in the abdominal cavity. That extra volume compresses the bladder, reducing its capacity and increasing the need to urinate. And because the pelvic floor muscles must support both organs, they become tense and fatigued, often leading to bladder instability. There's also the microbial side of the story. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria, many of which play a vital role in protecting you from inflammation and infection. But when your gut microbiome is disrupted, due to poor diet, antibiotics, or chronic stress, unfriendly bacteria can take over. These bacteria produce toxins that irritate the lining of the gut and, in turn, influence nearby organs like the bladder. You might be wondering, how can you know if your gut is part of the problem? The signs are often subtle. Do you experience bloating after meals? Do you have irregular bowel movements, either too often or not enough? Do you feel discomfort or heaviness in your lower abdomen? These symptoms could be pointing to the true source of your bladder issues. The good news is that your gut responds quickly to care. With just a few shifts in your daily routine, you can reduce inflammation, improve digestion, and relieve bladder pressure in the process. Here are a few simple but powerful steps to start with. Add more fiber-rich vegetables to your meals. Cooked leafy greens, steamed broccoli, zucchini, and carrots can all help move waste through the intestines gently, reducing the load on your bladder. Hydrate wisely. Drinking plenty of water is essential, but spacing it out during the day is just as important. Too much fluid all at once can overwhelm your system and worsen symptoms. Aim for small sips throughout the day instead of large gulps. Include fermented foods like sauerkraut, plain yogurt, or kefir. These help nourish the beneficial bacteria in your gut and support a balanced microbiome. Consider a short walk after meals. Light movement supports digestion and encourages bowel activity, helping your body eliminate waste more efficiently. Avoid processed foods with additives, emulsifiers, and artificial ingredients. These disrupt your gut lining and can trigger inflammation that spreads far beyond your digestive tract. Supporting your gut is one of the most underrated and effective ways to relieve urinary urgency. And because the changes are often gentle and cumulative, the results build gradually but meaningfully over time. But don't stop here. There's one more piece you absolutely need to know, and ignoring it could limit your results and possibly cause unexpected discomfort. This next step might be the most important yet, especially if you're serious about restoring balance naturally and safely. Once you begin to restore balance in your gut, something interesting starts to happen. The body becomes less reactive. The urgency you once felt may start to fade. But there's one more link in this chain that needs attention. Because without it, everything you've worked on so far could be compromised. That link is your pelvic floor. More specifically, the intricate relationship between your pelvic floor muscles and your bladder function. Most people associate pelvic floor health with pregnancy or aging, but the truth is, your pelvic floor plays a vital role in bladder control, regardless of age or gender. These deep muscles form a supportive sling across your pelvis, holding up your bladder, bowel, and reproductive organs. When they're strong and coordinated, they help regulate when and how you urinate. But when they're tight, weak, or out of sync, the result can be frequent, urgent, and sometimes even incomplete urination. Let's start with tension. In today's world, many of us carry unconscious tension in the pelvic region. Stress, trauma, poor posture, and sitting for long hours can cause these muscles to become overly tight. Instead of relaxing to allow the bladder to fill properly, a tense pelvic floor may signal the bladder to contract prematurely. That's why some people feel the constant urge to go, even when their bladder isn't actually full. On the other end of the spectrum, weak pelvic floor muscles can fail to hold the bladder properly, especially during physical movement. This might not cause urgency, but can contribute to leakage, incomplete emptying, or that frustrating feeling of needing to urinate again just minutes after you already did. Now here's where it gets more interesting. Your pelvic floor doesn't work alone. It interacts closely with your diaphragm, core muscles, and even your jaw. Yes, your jaw. Tension in the jaw is often mirrored in the pelvic floor, so learning to release tension in one area can improve the other. Many people try to strengthen their pelvic floor with Kegels, but these exercises are not a one-size-fits-all solution. In fact, if your muscles are already too tight, Kegels can make the problem worse. That's why understanding your body's current state is essential before jumping into any specific routine. So what can you do to support this deeply connected system? Begin with awareness. Place one hand on your lower abdomen and the other just above your pubic bone. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and feel your belly rise gently. As you exhale through your mouth, feel everything soften and release. This simple act of mindful breathing helps coordinate your diaphragm and pelvic floor, encouraging balance and relaxation. Incorporate gentle movements like yoga, pelvic tilts, or walking to promote circulation in the lower body. Avoid clenching your glutes or lower abs during daily activities. This creates unnecessary tension that your pelvic floor must compensate for. If you experience chronic urgency or discomfort, consider consulting a pelvic floor physical therapist. These specialists can help assess whether your muscles are overactive or underactive and guide you through safe, personalized strategies to retrain your body. Hydration also plays a role here. If your urine is too concentrated, it can irritate the bladder lining and make pelvic floor muscles react defensively. Spreading your fluid intake evenly throughout the day keeps the bladder environment calm and cooperative. Here's something powerful to remember. Your bladder is not just a storage tank. It's part of a larger, intelligent system. When one part is out of balance, others work harder to compensate. By caring for your pelvic floor, you reduce the burden on your bladder, improve your overall posture, and create more harmony in the entire lower body. And while all of this might feel complex, it's actually quite intuitive. Your body already knows how to function well. It just needs the right conditions to return to balance. With consistent care, you can retrain the system and experience noticeable relief. But be careful. If you skip the next step, all of these changes could lose their power. The next tip not only brings everything together, it holds the key to making your results last. And neglecting it could not only delay healing, but also lead to unintended side effects that are often overlooked until it's too late. If you've come this far, you've already unlocked powerful insights. You've looked at habits, beverages, stress responses, gut health, and even your pelvic floor, each one a piece of the puzzle. Now, it's time for something different, something simple, and yet something that could create a dramatic shift in your results. Let's talk about a natural remedy, a preparation that brings together elements from nature to support your bladder, kidneys, and entire urinary system gently and effectively. This isn't a miracle cure, and it's not meant to replace any medical treatment, but it is a tool, one that, when used correctly, can enhance your body's natural rhythm and help restore calm where there was once urgency. You've probably heard of pumpkin seeds. Maybe you've added them to salads or eaten them as a snack. But what you might not know is that pumpkin seeds are rich in zinc, magnesium, and plant-based compounds known as phytosterols. These nutrients support the health of the bladder wall and help reduce inflammation in the lower urinary tract. In fact, some studies have shown that pumpkin seed extract may help reduce nighttime urination in adults over 50. Now add parsley. Yes, that humble green herb often used as garnish. Parsley is a natural diuretic, but unlike caffeine or synthetic substances, it works gently to encourage fluid balance without overworking the kidneys. It also contains antioxidants like apigenin, which can help calm inflammation in the urinary system. And then there's mint. Not only is it soothing to the digestive tract, but mint also helps relax smooth muscles, including those that line the bladder. When used in combination with other herbs, mint enhances absorption and eases tension throughout the abdominal region. Here's how to bring all of this together into a calming infusion you can prepare at home. Take 1 tablespoon of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds and gently crush them with the back of a spoon to release their oils. Add 1 teaspoon of fresh parsley leaves, chopped finely. Add 3 or 4 fresh mint leaves. Pour 250 milliliters of hot, not boiling water over the mixture and let it steep, covered, for about 10 minutes. Strain and drink once per day, preferably mid-morning or early afternoon. Avoid drinking it right before bedtime to prevent unnecessary nighttime urination. This infusion is not just hydrating, it's functional. It supports mineral balance, calms the nervous system, and nourishes the urinary tract with plant compounds your body recognizes and responds to. But there's one more thing. Remember the bonus tip I mentioned? Here it is. If your digestive system tolerates it, you can add 1 teaspoon of organic apple cider vinegar to the cooled infusion. This small addition can boost the anti-inflammatory effects and help your body regulate pH balance, a critical factor in preventing bladder irritation. As always, listen to your body. If you feel any discomfort or reaction, pause and assess. Natural doesn't always mean harmless, so moderation and observation are key. And finally, here's what all of this comes down to: awareness, patience, and consistency. Healing isn't about quick fixes. It's about learning how to partner with your body, about understanding the signals and responding with care, not force. You have more power than you think. Every small change you make, from what you drink, to how you breathe, to what you prepare in your kitchen, matters. These aren't just habits. They're messages you send to your body every day. So keep choosing with intention. Keep listening. Keep learning. And if this message inspired you in any way, share it. Pass it forward. Let's build a community of people who choose knowledge, clarity, and action over confusion and resignation. Because in a world full of noise, the quietest choices often bring the deepest healing.